welcome back to my anime reviews. Basically, every week I will try to watch or rewatch an anime and then review it for you guys. Like I've said before, anime like One Piece, Bleach, and Fairy Tail will probably not be reviewed because they would take me way too long for me to get into the story, maybe one day, but for now, we ain't gonna be getting to those, so let's get straight into the main point. So this review is actually going to be an odd one for me today, since you're adding two things I don't really like: volleyball and sports anime. I'll explain those reasons later, but yeah, this anime is about volleyball, and I was thinking what kind of sports anime I would do this season, or this summer, because I thought, it's the summer, people can actually go outside and do things, so I might as well do a sports anime. Yeah, this review is actually very hard to make. This week, I'll be reviewing the Kuroko no Volleyball. Oh, wait, shit. I mean, Haikyuu. Yes, Haikyuu. Please don't hate me for that joke. I'll explain my reasons later. This anime has 25 episodes for the first season. There is a second season, and the third one has been greenlit, and it's happening, I think, fall this year. So that's really exciting, and as of this year, 2016, as of this video going up, I don't know if there is a dub yet, but we'll be talking about the subs no matter what, so let's get straight to it. Like usual, I will only be explaining the most important parts of this anime, like the character, story, settings, relationships, voice acting, animations, music, and the genre, and you always start with the genre here. It's a sports anime, that's all you really need to know. Now for the setting, it's a school life anime. It's a high school sports anime. It's in their school. And other schools. Gyms. That's it. Now for the characters. Since this is a sports anime, there are many characters that are important to the story, but I'll be focusing only on two, since this anime puts its eyes on them the most. So, first is Shoyo Hinata, an eccentric and hyper lover of volleyball who loves spiking and is a speedy little demon. He is known for how hyper he is and his passion for playing, as well as his amazing skill of jumping even though he's hella short. He still plays amazingly well, and even though he understands he's short, and eventually short people, and normally short people don't play volleyball, but he practices as hard as possible to eventually spike above those who are taller than him, to eventually become like the little giant of volleyball player he aspires to be. Second is Tobio Kageyama, self-centered and full of his own ego. He thinks that no matter what, he is the best and others are inferior. He's amazing at serving and setting, being able to set to any spot on the court in a perfect way. He's known on his old team in middle school as the king of the court for how competitive he was and how he was basically playing by himself. He's changing little by little and is working to trust others more. Now for the story, do I really need to say it though? It's the obvious cliche of the first years entering high school, wanting to become the best of their favorite sport, joining the team of that sport, working hard with their third years to eventually win a big tournament. This has a really big emphasis on the first years being ridiculously amazing, and only a small amount of the third years being amazing at the sport, as well as little to no second years really being there. Now for the animations. The animations are exactly what I needed for a sports anime that I feel like older anime don't really have. The feeling of speed and the feeling of immersion. The animations have a very shonen style to them, which, since it's directed to a young male audience, it does make you feel like you're there, as if you're making that serve, as if you're blocking that serve, hitting the spike, and it all feels as fast as normal volleyball would be, or maybe even faster because they're not professionals and still in high school, which would make sense. They do things in a very clean and very directed way, which helps us the series a lot. Now for the voice actors. The main character's voice actor was the only one I will ever remember. He fits his character almost to a T. He was always yelling, and it'll be really hard to forget him. I will never forget him yelling, "Itekoi," over and over, and over, and over, and over. Sadly, because of this, he overshadows the rest of the voice actors. I will probably never recognize the side characters' voice actors ever. I only really cared to Google Hinata's voice actor. That's how much I didn't care. Now for the music. The first opening is the best fucking opening for the season, in my opinion. I didn't really like the second one that much. I realized it after thinking real hard about it. The band who sung it also sung Golden Time Lover for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and sung Line for Naruto Shippuden. which I also dislike very much, which means I probably don't like their band, so I can't really blame them. The animation sequence for the songs are really creative though. Cinematically they are very well done. The first opening plays during the first half of the season, with the whole part of that season being basically training. The opening of the animations for it get you really hyped up for training, while the second opening is during the actual tournament, and the music and opening sequences makes you really hyped up for some really close and intense matches. The ending themes were I didn't really care too much about them, and the background music really makes you hyped up for some crazy moves and crazy scenes. Now, as the rating part of these reviews, as a rating, I will split it up into 5 different categories: the voice acting, animation, story, characters, and overall enjoyability. And we always start with the voice acting here, 5 out of 20. Hinata's voice actor will be the only one I will ever remember, and that's because he was always yelling. They fit who they played, I will admit that, but I will never remember any of these guys. Well, I don't know about never, but I highly doubt I will recognize these guys in other anime in the future. I will definitely recognize Hinata though. Animation is 20 out of 20. It was amazingly done. It felt as if I was the one playing, and it made me feel as if volleyball is an actual cool sport, which to me it really isn't, but that is opinionized, so you can take that with a grain of salt in the way you want to. They make it feel as if the speed of the characters in the show and the ball are so fast in such a good way that I feel like anything else will start to pale in comparison. Story, 10 out of 20. Cliche. Like all sports anime where the main characters are in high school, the series always follows the same stupid pattern almost all sports anime follow almost to a T. I'm not saying it's a bad because it's cliche, but I'm stating that it's a fact that it's cliche. Also, I'll explain the cliche to you, but if you don't want to hear it, because this season follows a lot of it, you can skip ahead by clicking here. You get like 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the cliches. The cliche is that the first season, they practice really hella hard and actually get far in the first tournament, but eventually lose to either a rival team or a team so out of their league it's ridiculous. The second season, they usually train a lot, like hell of a lot. They go to different hot springs and stuff and train. They go to people's houses and train. They're in the school training all the time. And then around the end of the second season, they enter a new tournament, win their first game, and then usually the season ends. Then the third season, they win the whole thing, and the whole series is over. This is the cliche because most manga can't last that long in a series until it gets stale, especially since high school sports manga and the main characters team always almost have to lose their first time entering a tournament, or else it just looks too easy because a character that wins all the time would be unrelatable and boring in a sports series where there are so many people in the world that have to make a statement that anyone can win and anyone can lose. This anime follows what I've said to almost a T, and it's really sad. The reason I scored it so low was because of a certain series I watched before this anime, which was the only reason I watched this anime, and I alluded to it at the start of this review, Kuroko Basket. This anime has a lot of similarities. Literally, the first episode they explain how the main characters are each other's shadow and light, and like how it is for Kuroko Basket. And I don't really want anyone nagging at me that Haikyuu probably did it first or something. No, they did not. Kuroko Basket came out in 2008, whereas Haikyuu came out in 2012. That's almost a 4-year difference. They are both published in Shonen Jump too. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. That's for you to tell me. Literally, the only reason I was really intrigued in the story is because of how closely it resembled Kuroko Basket. Literally, it's kind of sad. Although normally that would drain the score below 10, there is one thing the story does very differently from other sports anime. Understanding the view of other teams as if they were the main characters. How many sports manga and anime do this, as they usually focus their view on the main characters and their struggle, but the technical villains also get their chance in their spotlight, and it's really refreshing. Whereas normal sports anime usually don't, Haikyuu does this really well. Characters 15 out of 20. These characters had a lot of emotion, and the anime makes you see it blatantly as if you didn't really understand the characters, what kind of character a character was, you probably didn't watch the anime. It's that obvious. They were all distinct and full with emotion and passion for what they loved, and that is what is really needed for a sports anime. My problem again is with the cliches. The sports anime / manga cliche is that the first years create a splash, and they are the ones who help the team progress most of the time and go as far as they go, and the third years are the ones helping them along the way with their knowledge of the game and their experience with the game and real life. And the second years are basically non-existent, and that happens in this anime too. I don't know what I expected, but if following the cliche, it just doesn't help. Enjoyability, 10 out of 20. I only watch this anime because of how close it is and how similar it is to Kuroko no Basket. And eventually I started watching it because it was a sport anime. I didn't really like the sport, but it made the sport look really cool with good characters. But then, with the last few episodes when they came, I distanced myself from the anime. I tried so hard not to watch it, and then there were times I did want to watch it, but I kept pushing myself away. And it's not like I didn't want to watch it or some shit, and I didn't ever want it to end or some shit. That's a stupid excuse, especially for an anime that already has a second season out, and it has a third one in the works. So that'd be really pointless. The reason why I didn't want to continue was because I knew everything that was going to happen in the last few episodes without having anyone spoiled it to me or having to watch them myself. This is spoiler. So you can click over here to skip ahead. So I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can. Okay, bye. The last 3 episodes were the last set against the strongest team they've played against yet. The first episode out of the 3, the whole game is extremely close, and each team is getting either ahead and behind, and eventually the whole game goes into deuce, which I predicted. The second episode out of the 3, they realize they don't really have the stamina like they do, but they have the confidence in themselves and each other to continue and win, whereas the other team also has the same, including the confidence in the opponent, which helps them break through, and ultimately the main characters lose, which I predicted. The final episode is all the main characters sulking, but eventually getting back up on their feet and deciding they will keep trying until they get to where they want to be and keep trying to win, which I predicted. It's not that fun to watch an anime that's so obviously following the cliches, it's depressing, and I know that if they won the first tournament, the whole show would just be really boring, since it would be like so big. It's not fun to watch someone win all the time, but my point still stands. Cliche. Overall score, 60 out of 100, 60%. I will be watching the second season though, but it's really cliche. Really, really, really cliche. That's the grade for this anime. Hope you enjoyed the video. In the description there should be a link to watch it over on Crunchyroll. Thank you guys for watching. Stop, I'm gonna say peace out. See you guys next time.